everyone, welcome to KU Padasala. This is Dr. Kavitha BK, and today I shall discuss with you a poem by the Assamese poet Nabakanta Barua titled Tete-a-tete. So I shall begin by giving an introduction to Assamese literature. The literary heritage of the Assamese language can be traced back to the 9th and 10th century in the Charyapada, that is a collection of mystical poems in Buddhist Tantric tradition, where the earliest elements of the language can be discerned. Benikanta Kakati, in his book Aspects of Early Assamese Literature, divides the history of Assamese literature into three prominent eras, that is early Assamese era, middle Assamese era and modern Assamese era. And I shall speak about modern Assamese era so that we can locate our poet Nabakanta Barua. And modern Assamese era starts from 1826 AD to the present. The modern era was a period of the prose chronicles, or it is called Burangi in Assamese, and the historical chronicles were first composed in their original Thai Kadai language, but when the Aham rulers adopted Assamese as the court language, historical chronicles began to be written in the Assamese. The British imposed Bengali in 1836 in Assam after the state was occupied and annexed with the Bengal Presidency. So we have the influence of American missionaries here. The modern Assamese period began with the publication of the Bible in Assamese prose by the American Baptist missionaries in 1819. The missionaries established the first printing press in Sibsagar in 1836 and started using the local Assamese dialect for writing purposes. In 1846, they started a monthly periodical called Arunodai, and in 1848, Nathan Brown published the first book on Assamese grammar. The missionaries published the first Assamese English dictionary compiled by M. Brownson in 1867. One of the major contributions of the American Baptist missionaries to the Assamese language is the reintroduction of Assamese as the official language of Assam in 1873. And the period of modern literature began with the publication of the Assamese journal Jonaki in 1889, which first introduced the short story form by Lakshminath Besbarova. Thus began the Jonaki period of Assamese literature. The modern Assamese literature has been enriched by the works of Jyoti Prasad Agarwala, Birinji Kumar Barua, Hem Barua, Atul Chandra Hazarika, Mafizuddin Ahmad Hazarika, Nalini Bala Devi, Nabakanta Barua, Zaid Abdul Malik, Mamomni, Raisam Goswami, Babendra Nath Saikia, Homan Bergoben, Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, D.K. Barua, Nirupama Borgohain, Kanchan Barua, Saurabh Kumar Chaliha and others. To our poet Nabakanta Barua, he is also known as Ekhut Kokeidu, and he was a prominent Assamese novelist and poet. He was born on December 29, 1926 in Guwahati and passed away on July 14, 2002. His contributions. Barua's contribution to Assamese art and literature includes 39 books in all, 11 poetry collections, 5 novels, lyrics, short stories for children and essays. In 1984, he published the Assamese magazine Sirolu, later republished as Nathun Sirolu. So his poetry collections include He Aranya He Mahanagar, Mur Aru Pridibhir, Eti Dudi Eharotri Tora, Samrat, Reti Jilmil Tora Jilmi, Ratnakar Aru Onanya Kavitha, Dolonkot Tamighora, I am not sure whether these words are pronounced like this because this is Assamese. Novels include Kokadetar Har, Manu Atobor Dweep, O Podorta, Kopel Porya Sadhu, and children's literature include Siali Palogai Ratanpur, Ahoror Jokhola, Makhonor Kukura Powali, and Gola Baru Beli Fool. And he has received many awards and honors. It includes the Assam Prakashan Parisodh Award in 1974, Sahitya Academy Award to Assamese writers in 1975, Padma Bhushan for Literature and Education in 1976, Assam Valley Literary Award in 1993, and Kamal Kumari National Award in 1998. So here goes the poem, Tete-a-tete. Ah, it is pleasant. We are sitting, simply sitting, sitting silently. I have so many things to tell, which I know I cannot, shall not tell. Last night I talked with me of too many this and that. I was in an anguish to tell, but now this is enough. We are sitting. The sun above is throwing little pebbles of its rays through the leaves of the tree. They are falling on your nose, lips, and arms, not on mine. We are sitting, and we have had our talk. So the theme of the poem, the tete-a-tete, means it is a face-to-face conversation. So the theme is about meeting between two people. It could be the poet and his self or the poet and his soul. And the poem can also be analyzed as the expression of the self through the poem itself. And this poem, Tete-a-tete, it's a French title, and this poem was published in 1945-46 period, that is during the Second World War and Indian freedom struggle movement. And since this is the colonial period and a period of much political tension, we have to think in terms of the socio-political background. In the 1940s, the issues of immigration, land and identity gained an urgency that had never been witnessed before in Assam. The issue of immigration acquired grave political overtones and became inextricably linked with the question of land and the identity of the indigenous Assamese and tribal populations. Even the seeds of partition threats shattered the people. The poets of the period, including Nabakanta Barua, represented their angst, despair, and struggles with their self through the medium of poetry. Like the other provinces of India, the colonial invasion by the British led to a new environment in Assam. While the theme and poetic imageries and style of Assamese poetry underwent a total change in the environment shaken by the World War II. So the World War II has affected the world at large, and it has reached India also. The crisis brought about by the world wars made the mindset as well as the social surroundings corroded with rudeness and skepticism. Consequently, experiments were going on the new literary modes like symbolism and imagism. This transitional phase, starting from the 40s decade of the 20th century in the domain of Assamese poetry, is mainly the after effect of the modernist movement. So about modernism. Modernist movement, which is very much individualistic in its nature, is deeply attached to the human mind instead of being attached to the materialistic world. And it is connected to the exploration of fresh avenues, breaking the traditions rather than sticking to the tradition. The feelings of the men who were advancing towards modernism turned introspective. Modernist poets made their poems intense and compressed with images, myths, and allusion. The reference to the past foregrounded the present but offer no solution to the problems of rootlessness, loss of identity, and lack of moral confidence that have become an integral part of modern man's existence. The poem's title, Tete-a-tete, indicates a private conversation between two people. Here, the two people are two versions of the same person, the self and the other. The poet is in an identity crisis. Identity crisis is a term which is coined by the theorist Erikson, and it refers to the self-analysis that is conducted by a person about himself and also about the perception of himself. Loneliness and search for self is seen in the lines, "Last night I talked with me of too many this and that. I was in an anguish to tell." The speaker in the poem, who was in a conflict with the self the other day, had arrived at peace after the conversation. The beginning line of the poem expresses his current state of mind. It goes, "Ah, it is pleasant, we are sitting, simply sitting, sitting silently." He says that he had so many things to tell the other day which he felt he could not tell and should not tell. But last night I talked with me. Okay, last night I talked with me. Maybe the poet might have written a poem and conversed whatever he wanted to convey and felt at peace. So the art of creativity might be what he is referring to. He was able to find his other self in the art form and is at peace now. The image of the sun above throwing little pebbles of its rays through the leaves of the tree is symbolic of optimism or ray of hope in life. The rays are falling not on the nose, lips and arms of the speaker, the poet, but on the poem, the other self. The poet uses the images of sun, which represents Agni, pebbles, which represent earth, nose for air, lips for water, and arms, the sky, to indicate the cosmic elements of Panchabhuta after the art of poetic creation. He says, this is enough for him, as we are sitting, and we have had our talk. So, the tete-a-tete is over. The conversation is over. He could find peace with himself. And there ends the poem. So I have given a few references which I have taken. Assamese literature from Wikipedia. Barua Nabakanta, Tete-a-tete. The poem is taken from poemhunter.com. And I have referred the critical 40s, one Assam and the Partition, Unresolved Issues by Mishra Udayam. Thank you so much.